live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media, the Denice Gary Show. Now, here's Denice Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Denice Gary Show. It's great to be with you on a Thursday afternoon. I hope all of you have had at least a decent day. I hope a lot of you have had a great day. Let's start in. First off, I want to talk about the California GOP leader, the new California GOP leader. Apparently, delegates chose a Latina woman to lead the historic Republic comeback. There's been a lot of criticism lobbied against her. There's been some positive things said about her. I am still looking to find somebody that I want to have on the broadcast to really get into the nuts and bolts on this. And I made a phone call actually today, so we'll see how that goes. There's a couple other individuals that I'm looking to call. One of the individuals is part of the Jewish Republican Alliance, Gary Aminoff, who said, those who are unhappy with the new California GOP leader, unhappy with the election results that were determined by 1,200 delegates, by the way, 1,200 delegates from across the state of California. He says we need to accept the results and unite to make the California Republican Party into the party we want it to be. And I like that because I think it's absolutely critical that Republicans, who actually are the only party left in California that embraces the Judeo-Christian values, some traditional values that made this state and this country great, that made our state and our country exceptional. So I like it that he said that however you feel about this new leader, her name is, she's new to me, by the way, so I have to look it up. She's 38-year-old Jessica Patterson. Jessica Patterson, the first ever woman to chair the state GOP. And she said that she wasted no time saying we're going to take the fight to the Democrats, that the Democrats are our enemies, and she wants to lead the Republican comeback. So anyway, I want to get back to what Gary Aminoff, A-M-I-N-O-F-F, he contributes a lot to the Facebook page of the Jewish Republican Alliance. And by the way, for those of you that haven't looked at their Facebook page, Jewish Republican Alliance, they put a lot of information on there. It's really interesting and to the point. They bring up a lot of issues related to the intolerance of the left, the intolerance of the Democrats. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And I recommend you take a look at it. After you've listened to my show, the Denice Gary Show, be sure and tell everybody that you know and people you don't know. The Denice Gary Show airs live every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So anybody can catch this show live at 5 p.m. every day. And of course, all the shows are archived on the Denice Gary Show Facebook page. Then there's my YouTube channel, The Denice Gary Show, where you can tell your friends and family, you can tell Democrats and independents, listen to her show. If they don't do Facebook, they can go to YouTube. Listen to the show on my YouTube page. They can go to iTunes. They can go to SoundCloud. They can go to some internet radio. Talk America, is it?
Talk Radio America.
Talk Radio America, an internet radio news network has got my show. And they're, I think, in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to what Gary said about our new California GOP leader, Jessica Patterson, he writes that we need to accept the results, unite, and make the party what we want it to be. He says, abandoning the party or cursing the party or its delegates achieves nothing. If we want to win again, We need to put intra-party differences aside. We've got the conservatives in the Republican Party. We have moderates in the Republican Party. We have some people in the middle between conservatives and moderates in the party. Whoever you are, if you say to yourself, I don't want to label myself within the Republican Party, hallelujah, that's great. You're just a Republican, fabulous. However you want to identify yourself. Maybe you're a conservative Democrat and you vote Republican. Great. Why not change parties? Go ahead. Take the step. I know it takes great courage to make a change in life, but you can do it. Change over. Register as a Republican. So anyway, if we want to win again, we need to put our inter-party differences aside. I like that, Gary. You're absolutely right. The election is over. Let's do everything we can now to make the party strong. He mentions that the new chair also has Peter, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Kuo, Q. He's the vice chair. Randy Burkholz is the secretary. Greg Gandrud is the treasurer. He says, let's turn this state around. I agree. You know who I am. I'm a conservative. But I say, if you've got two people running for office and one's a Republican and one's a Democrat, I'd rather get a moderate Republican there that's going to more or less vote for the values and ideas that the Republican Party stands for than a Democrat that's going to vote. Remember, we talked about this with Greg Burt from the California Family Council, this horrible, very controversial LGBT foster care bill. Hope everybody called on that yesterday. I brought it with me today with all my stack of stuff. Robert, why don't you show people what we have here on the table for the show today? I don't think I'm going to get through it. But we've got a few things to discuss. I like to bring in several things. But anyway, getting back to what we were saying, AB 175 was passed out of the Human Services Committee and into the Assembly Judiciary Committee. And that LGBT foster care bill is going to force foster care parents, and some of whom are Christian or maybe traditional Jewish individuals, traditional Jews and Christians, that, they pick up the Torah or they pick up the Bible and they see the scriptures that call things like, being somebody that embraces the transgender lifestyle or the bisexual or lesbian gay lifestyle. There are traditional people, when they read the Holy Scriptures, they say, well, God says that's an abomination. That's actually what it says. That I know sounds really harsh to some of you, but there's a shortage of foster care families, and there are some excellent families that are people of faith, that I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that they would want to be able to encourage a child and affirm a child in their biological gender identity. I mean, they were born either a boy or a girl. They're not an it. They're not somewhere in the middle. And if they were born a boy, they're not a girl. And if they were born a girl, they're not a boy. That's just kind of how it is. And, I believe in the specialness and the uniqueness of every individual because, again, it says that in the scriptures. It talks about the formation in your mother's womb in the book of Psalms by King David of Israel. So, the specialness of each and every individual, regardless of race or ethnicity, is really important, I believe, to God, and I believe to civilization. And I think it's confusion that somehow has worked its way in and is causing people to question who they are. And I think it's evil. And I know that's an unpopular position to take, very politically incorrect. So what? I really don't care. I guess I was brought up to believe in the inspired word of God, and so I do. And, it says it's an abomination to participate in a lifestyle that doesn't respect and honor, your God-given specialness. Whether you be a boy or a young man or a man or a woman or a girl. So anyway, what this bill does too, you have to understand, it's not just about forcing caregivers to have to follow through on an 8-year-old telling them, oh, by the way, this week, I don't want to be referred to as he or him or by my male name. I'm going to go by this girl name this week, and I want to be a she or a her. It's not just about forcing foster care parents to use the gender pronoun of choice by a child. But it inhibits their free speech in the home. I guess that also really bothers me. I mean, there's the issue of a confused child that can get into anxiety and depression and wind up committing suicide as a teenager or as a young adult or even later in life. I mean, how many people have gotten really confused about issues and wound up committing suicide? And I believe Kern County has one of the highest suicide rates. Kern County, or is it California in general? I'm not sure. I've got to go back and look that up. But I know in California we've got a high suicide rate, and it's really concerning. But then again, there's this other free speech issue. And if you're going to start telling people what they can say inside their homes, especially if they're people of faith, that deeply disturbs me also. You wanted to say something, Robert?
Well, I wanted to bring up something because I knew a young child at one point who wanted to be a dog. And he could actually scratch himself behind the ear and the whole thing. And I would wonder if I would be forced as a parent to have to identify this child as an animal, because I can see this kind of going down this slippery slope. If a young child identifies as an animal,
yeah, that's terrible.
Where does it go? Where do we go?
Yeah, where do we go? Where do we go from there? If a child is identifying as an animal, and as you say, that happens too, and how confusing. Did you know the parents?
Yeah, I knew the parents. I mean, and they
they just playing along with this?
They just played along with it for a while because they knew that the child would grow out of it.
Did they?
And the child did grow out of it.
Okay, how long did that last?
I want to say 6 months.
Oh, okay.
But but this child he loved animals, and he identified.
He can be a veterinarian then.
But he just would act like a dog and bark like a dog.
Yeah, it sounds like his parents let him take it to the extreme.
And
they probably needed to rein him in a little earlier.
They did. They tried to rein him in.
I mean, I think it's fine to laugh and have some fun with it once in a while, but I mean to let somebody just go on and on with it. I would think it would be obnoxious.
Oh, it got to be obnoxious.
Yeah, and I think parents have a responsibility not to let things get that far either.
But they also was like, well, it's just part of the child's imagination. And they were right at a point. It did kind of phase out. But it was like, I was kind of like, hey, how long do we want to let this go before it gets to be too serious?
Right. And really leads to some serious confusion. I think, just my personal opinion, I think they let it go too long. But, I mean, again, you can laugh and have fun once in a while. But if this is going on day after day, all day, every day, 7 days a week, 24/7, I would think that would be concerning, and parents need to, be a little bit more intelligent and maybe step in and say, okay, that's enough now. You've got school, you've got this, you've got that, and we have things to do. But anyway, I just think affirming confused gender feelings, particularly with people that are under the age of 21, when there's just a lot of emotion, and of course you've got the hormonal thing in the teenage years, and I just don't think that's wise to do that. And then if they start having surgery, it can lead to sterilization and all kinds of other physical ramifications that person will live with for the rest of their life. And of course, this LGBT AB 175 means that the foster care parent, again, this is inside their home. They have to allow the child to have computer technology and use the internet with regards to these issues, and to participate in parades and activities that affirm gender confusion. They have to buy their clothing and get their hair done, hygiene products. Again, according to this confused gender identity. I mean, and then if you've got somebody trying to be an animal, I mean, what are we supposed to do? Go down and buy him a little doggy jacket, or a doggy sweater, or a cat sweater or a cat jacket? What are they going to do? Walk on all four, or scoot along on all four? I don't know. It's just parents, gosh, try to pull it together. Anyway, let's put it into this AB 175. The controversial LGBT foster care bill, AB 175. Call the chair of the California State Assembly Judiciary Committee, 916-319-2029, 916-319-2029. Call the minority chair, the Republican, James Gallagher, the vice chair, 916 area code 319-2003. Now, I believe you were putting that up on the page. Yeah. So Robert, my producer's got it up on the screen. Again, this list, if you want the list of the members who are on the Assembly Judiciary Committee, where did they go to? You found this somewhere and you printed it out for me. You just went online to where?
I just put in California State Assembly.
California State Assembly Judiciary Committee. Okay. So if you want the list and you want to call everybody on the list, as Robert suggested, you go to California State Assembly, and then what was there? A list of all the committees, and you clicked one?
Yeah. So
they give you a list of committees, and you click the Assembly Judiciary Committee. The Judiciary Committee, that's where this horrible AB 175 is now. So let's take care of that. Getting back to, I kind of got off track, wanted to give you what information I've been able to uncover about the new California GOP leader, Jessica Patterson. Wanted to share out this, that it was reported that Patterson has been involved in Republican politics for years. She directed an organization called California Trailblazers. She has worked for Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who of course I'm not a fan of at all, but she also worked on the campaign of gubernatorial candidate Meg Whitman. She's been endorsed by Devin Nunes. It says here, Patterson said prior to the election she supports President Trump, and beyond Kevin McCarthy, who endorsed her, she had the backing of key Trump supporters such as U.S. Representative Devin Nunes and the state's 2 Republican National Committee members. That sounds a little promising. I thought this was interesting. One of the things that Travis Allen, who also ran to be the California GOP leader, and someone who I am not familiar with, and probably a lot of you are, and that is somebody by the name of Steve Frank. He is apparently a longtime party activist. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. My area of expertise is U.S. foreign policy and the Middle East. And I had a radio program for 6 years, and that's what I focused on, was basically national security issues. So I'm doing my best to get up to speed on everything related to California because I want to help turn this state around. But I thought this was a plus, that Travis Allen and Steve Frank had stated that they felt that one of the reasons, and I'm trying to read this, one of the reasons why that the California Republican Party has lost is because there wasn't an effort at voter registrations, that we really didn't go out and do voter registration. I don't know if every city in the state did or did not. I've read reports that we did not do voter registration. The California Republican Party, while the Democrats were out there harvesting ballots, we were not. Even though it's legal to do so, and Jerry Brown and the Democrats passed legislation saying harvest balloting was absolutely appropriate. So, this former assemblyman and unsuccessful gubernatorial candidate, Travis Allen, and this Steve Frank, formed an alliance against Patterson, but apparently because they felt that, voter registration was not adequately funded, this Jessica Patterson appointed them, both of them, to co-chair a committee to make that happen, to really deal with voter registration. And I thought that was wise of her. If she's, according to this report that I read by an individual, Patterson is the moderate, Travis Allen is the conservative, the grassroots, so it was, grassroots conservative against the moderate establishment, the activist referring to Travis Allen versus the consultant, pro-Trump supporter versus faux Trump supporter. I don't know that it's that cut and dry. So the bottom line is, Patterson has been elected by 1,200 delegates. Travis Allen and Steve Frank have been appointed to do what they both believe needs to be done, and that's really get out there and work on a campaign of voter registration for the Republican Party, and that all sounds good to me. I went on the website for the Republican Party of California, and it says, the California Republican Party works every day to build a vibrant, prosperous, and secure California. We believe this happens through a robust and growing economy, strong and healthy families. Jessica Patterson is against abortion. President Trump is the most pro-life president we have ever had. They absolutely have that in common. And it seems to me that if Devin Nunes, who is a conservative Republican, endorsed her, I don't know that she's a faux Trump supporter. I don't know that Devin Nunes would have supported her if she was a faux Trump supporter. So you can't believe everything you read. And I can see that it sounds like things that I have pieced together here from various reports and articles, that she absolutely has some very important similarities to the president and common ground. So I suggest we give her a chance, those of us that consider ourselves conservative. Let's really get with the California Republican Party and our local Republican Party groups, and let's do everything we can, conservative, moderate, somewhere in between, to make California great again. Let's do it. Let's end the divisiveness. Let's come together. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Denice Gary Show. We'll be right back. We've got to pay the bills.
want to tell you about a place I love to go. Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's Restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denise sent you. Salute. Buon appetito.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to legal matters, contact Barb Reynolds. She is a contract paralegal to lawyers, and she will take good care of you. Moreover, she is a Kern County legal document assistant to pro per litigants. She has 47 years of paralegal experience, and for over 30 years has been an educator in the field of law and paralegal work. If you need help handling your adoption, bankruptcy, civil suit, divorce, debt consolidation, evictions, immigration, or attorney referrals, contact Barb Reynolds if you want to win your case. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Barb is simply the best. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thrilled I've got the owner of Scope 365 Fitness here with me today, Craig Jansen, Navy veteran. Craig, tell the audience out there why everybody in town needs to come up over here and join.
Well, Scope 365 is a 24-hour club, so we never close, unlike a lot of other clubs here in town. Additionally, our club is always super clean, and one of the things that you're going to find here is a different environment. We strive to give you a VIP experience here, so we want to get to know you, we want to know your story, we want to know about you and how we can help you succeed and meet all of your fitness goals.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, come on down to Scope 365 Fitness. You're located right here on Brim Hall. Tell us your other locations.
We have another location up in Tehachapi, and then our third location here in town is also located over on Chester and Columbus in the Food Mac Shopping Center.
Thank you so much, Craig. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Denise Gary Show. By the way, on Scope 365, remember, it's 0% enrollment this month, and it's 50% off the first month's fee. So you've got to enroll. We've got to get, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get ourselves in our bathing suit bodies again, right? We've got to work off that extra 10 or 20 pounds we put on. So let's give him a call. Craig Jansen, our Navy veteran. Give him a call at 661-679-7116. 679-7116. And remember, he's got his facility there in Tehachapi, beautiful Tehachapi on Sage, and in Oildale on Chester Avenue. So let's give Craig Jansen a call. By the way, before we change topics and move away from California, I want to talk to you about what happened with the president vis-a-vis North Korea and the North Korean summit with Chairman Kim Jong-un. But I wanted to mention, I was looking at a website called the California Globe, and apparently this year, the California legislature, basically mostly Democrats, have introduced 2,576 new bills for 2019. Can you believe it? what's so scary is the Democrats' agenda. And thinking 2,576 bills. What is it? I mean, how many more regulations do Democrats want to put on the lives of Californians? And we're not going to get into all that today because there's so many other things I want to talk about. But I did want to mention they really want to control guns and any kind of firearm. I mean, I just, quickly looking through, lots of pieces of legislation on firearms, lots of pieces on child care, lots and lots on immigrants and immigration, including you will get to pay for group homes for undocumented minors as well as their legal services. And for Vietnamese refugees, there's a bill that has to do with repatriation. Are you kidding me? I mean, everything, immigrants and immigration, everything I see there is going to cost you and I money. The other thing is Medicare. Lots of bills listed under Medicare. Medi-Cal, excuse me, and a lot. That is the biggest category, Medi-Cal. And we cannot afford to pay any more higher taxes. If you're thinking that you're not going to help the California GOP turn the state around because 1,200 delegates elected Jessica Patterson and you don't think she's conservative enough, come on, people. We have to save the state. I mean, Democrats have been destroying this state. I mean, look at where we live right here in Kern County. The homeless problem is out of control. People are stepping over poop in San Francisco. Needles and poop in Los Angeles. Typhus is going around. Typhus is a growing epidemic because under Democrats and the sanctuary state laws, we don't have to have a doctor down there. We don't have to have doctors or border patrol. They don't want any border patrol agents. They don't want ICE. They certainly don't want any doctors down there like we used to have over there in New York on Ellis Island, where they would check people to see, are they carrying tuberculosis? Are they carrying typhus? Are they carrying any diseases into the country? And if they were, there was a hospital at Ellis Island. And if they weren't going to get better, they went back home. People, we have a right to be safe. Citizens have a right to have a nation state and call it their own and be protected, not just against illegals that turn into criminals or illegal criminal aliens, right? Not everybody is looking for a job. Some people are involved in drug cartels and human trafficking and are rapists and murderers. Not everybody is just, here to get a good education and here to get a good job. And, when you look at the number of people that have died in California and died in the United States from, opioid drugs and fentanyl drugs, if that's not an emergency to you, I don't know what is. But I look at these bills and these Democrats, sales and use taxes. Anything you use is to be taxed. I think the one exemption they have down here is diapers. But, female products, boy, anything, everything they're just wanting to tax. And then the other big thing is water. I mean, there's just a list of bills underwater. I'm telling you, Democrats are destroying the state. And we have so many people wanting to leave. And I got that off of California Globe. California legislature introduces 2,576 new bills for 2019. Wow, take a look at that list. All right, I want to talk about Democrat talking points that I've heard now. Driving in my car to class this morning, driving into the studio from class this afternoon. I'll keep hearing it, I'm sure. One of the things that the Democrats are saying about the fact that President Trump and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, our national security advisor, one of the things that they're saying about, this president and his team walking away is they weren't prepared. And one of the reasons they're giving for not being prepared is that somehow they didn't have a list of all the nuclear weapon sites. Excuse me? So let me tell you what you can say to Democrats and independents and Republicans that are ignorant of the details. So first of all, one of the things that the president made clear, and I stayed up till midnight to watch it, which is one of the reasons why I'm so tired today, is, there were reporters. He did a press conference. I don't know, I think it started at 11 and went just after midnight. And there were reporters from all over the world, from North Korea, South Korea, China, India, Pakistan, America, the United States, Europe, all over. And I think it was one of the American reporters basically tried to suggest it was a failure because they didn't have a signing ceremony and the president was leaving without an agreement. And so President Trump responded by saying, and he's right to do so, we know where every nuclear site is. We know every inch of North Korea. And I want to say thank you to the president because our intelligence officials, our satellite images, we have 17 different intelligence agencies working around the clock, doing things around the globe to make your life safe. So that to the idiot who tried to suggest from the press that somehow, we didn't have a list. In fact, I heard it again on the Neil Cavuto. So on the radio, driving to the studio, I heard some Democrat on Neil Cavuto, which is a Fox News show that airs from 1 to 2, so driving over here, I heard some Democrats say, well, you think the president would have had a list of all the nuclear weapon sites and all the ballistic missile sites. And of course they did. And even Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, that stood there on the platform for the press conference, said, we didn't get it all. The president and himself, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, wanted complete and total denuclearization. And I believe that the president thought that by sitting down eyeball to eyeball, because all of us know if you're honest with yourself, including Democrats, if you Democrats and independents were honest with yourself, even Republicans that don't support the president, if you're honest with yourself, you know that there's nothing better in terms of trying to have a breakthrough on an issue than to have a sit down, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and talk it through. And obviously this president thought, and Mike Pompeo thought, and John Bolton thought, that by going to Vietnam, as they said, as the president said, where Kim Jong-un would see that this country that still is employing capitalist principles in the marketplace, still a communist government, but moving away from that economically and embracing capitalism, that there's tremendous prosperity now than ever before in Vietnam. The president wanting the dictator of North Korea to see that, because as the president said, North Korea, it's an island, right? It's surrounded by tremendous beauty and beaches and scenic areas that could lead to tremendous prosperity for that country. Think of the tourist industry. And so, I think that the president, he probably had other thoughts that he wasn't going to speak about out loud in front of that press conference. But I believe they know what they're doing. Ronald Reagan took 5 years to work through a process where he was having one-on-one discussions, and the Secretary of State or the State Department, they had their teams working with working their one-on-one meetings, and Ronald Reagan walked away. But it was a process. So again, I hope you'll say to people that are condemning this president, I hope you'll say to them, this president started a process that heretofore did not exist. And that process has brought tremendous communication between the leaders of two enemy states, because North Korea has called the United States an enemy nation. Why is that? Because we don't have a peace treaty. There was a truce signed at the end of the Korean War. We haven't been at peace. I mean, this is why we have U.S. troops right there on the border with North Korea. And North Korea has their forces right there on the border, right? The demilitarized zone, that line. They're right there, shoulder to shoulder, looking at each other, watching each other every day. So, think about that. American forces and South Korean forces there, right there. Eyeballing the people across the line right in North Korea, because they're an enemy state, because we don't have a peace treaty yet. So for the president to tell the whole world, we almost got there, but we didn't quite cross the line. Does it occur to anybody, like, who's the White House reporter there on Fox News? Is Roberts somebody? John Roberts. So John Roberts was for Fox News criticizing the president and saying, well, the president shouldn't have gone there. He wasted his time, and he wasted America's time by going there, because he shouldn't have gone there unless he was ready to have the chairman sit there and sign his agreement, just how President Trump wanted it. No, he's not. He's not wasting time. He's not wasting taxpayer dollars. President Kim Jong-un has weapons targeting the United States. And we know that Russia, even Putin warned on Russian television, and Russia TV listed the nuclear targets that the Russian military has trained on U.S. cities. Russia TV listed nuclear targets in the United States. The militarization of China has been going on for years. And the fact that Russia and China and North Korea have been working shoulder to shoulder to help the North Koreans build intercontinental ballistic missiles that reach Los Angeles, California, and major metropolitan areas, not just in California, but in the whole of the country, is really important. And if the president, unlike former presidents, felt it was in the national security interests to not just have these teams working with North Korea teams, but to take his national security advisor and his Secretary of State and he himself have one-on-one meetings with this young dictator, so be it. I sent out a tweet to the president, I hope all of you will too, saying to the president, thank you. Thank you so much, because you're the first president in years who's taken the time and effort to bring about peace between North Korea and the United States of America at a time when during the Obama administration and the very beginning of the Trump administration, North Korea is sending ballistic missiles over the island of Japan. and sending ballistic missiles into the ocean and into the waters surrounding North Korea, testing his ballistic missiles, testing underground nuclear weapons. Right now, there isn't any testing. Kim Jong-un told the president at this second meeting there would be no more testing. No more nuclear testing, chemical biological weapons testing, no more testing of ballistic missiles. That's important. Testing is testing, it's important. And then I heard a Democrat say on the Neil Cavuto show driving over here that, well, how stupid the president was. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, right? But it was like how stupid the president was that he ended those war games, those what did he call them? War exercises. And, you know, the president said, and he said this last year, I mean, do people just not listen? The president said last year, and he said it last night again at the press conference, that costs the U.S. taxpayer, I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars. They take those great big bombers and they let go of, you know, great big bombs that cost a lot of money for military exercises. The president did not believe at this it was not necessary to do that again, to send these huge fighter bombers into the area to unload their bombs. The president has an agenda, infrastructure, getting the wall built. All of it costs a lot of money. If he thinks that last year he could forego those war exercises, so be it. North Korea isn't testing. Now, North Korea has had some military exercises, but ladies and gentlemen, we outnumber North Korea's military. We do have qualitatively, or we do have a qualitative edge on our military technology and weapons. So maybe when you put it all together, the U.S. military might, considering the fact that it exceeds North Korea's military might, we might not need to put all of that money into military exercises this last year. I just, did I say what I tweeted out to the president? I tweeted out to the president, I don't think I finished that statement, that I thanked him and the Secretary of State for going there and working on a process that would lead to a peace treaty and the denuclearization of that country and opening it up for peace in that region, and that I was going to continue to pray for them, for their wisdom and clarity and understanding in the situation. Why not do that? Why not send out that kind of a tweet? Because for the first time, we have a process, we're engaged, we have a dialogue, we can get things done. And I believe if this president is able to, he will have an agreement, he will have a peace treaty in his hand. And we will have full denuclearization. But as the president said, with the former CIA director, now Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, standing right next to him on that stage, we know every inch of North Korea, and why wouldn't we? Because we have 17 intelligence agencies, some of which are satellites up there in the universe, that are taking pictures of every square inch of North Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to take a break. We will be right back with you.
Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security. And in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Anates Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Anates Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Anates Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Anates Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Scott, tell us why you believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake doing some fantastic cutting edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private one, putting a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future, and this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Anates Products. Anates Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Stratolaunch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Anates Products that has provided the manufactured devices, and the president, Scott Baker of Anates Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on anything that flies, as well as providing a full testing destructive laboratory. Contact Anates Products, now in business for 30 years, at 661-822-6873. Located at 1314 Goodrich Drive in Tehachapi for your manufacturing and testing needs today.
Let's end on a high note today. So, as the Democrats and Independents and Republicans that can't seem to really appreciate the fact that this president is putting you and I first, putting Americans first, and is the president that more than I think any other president I have known wants to put our national security interests before getting a deal signed. In fact, one more thing I've got to say. I heard another Democrat say, or maybe this was a Republican, well, the president, I think this was that John Roberts from Fox News, and he said, well, the president got his photo op, and I'm thinking, the president didn't take that trip for a photo op. I think the president thought, based on things that have been said previously, that, and of course Kim Jong-un said while he was there in Vietnam, that he was there because he was willing to sign an agreement on denuclearization. It's just that he wasn't willing to sign off on every part of the nuclear program in Korea, just in some areas and some districts and some areas, some regions of the country, not all of it, just part of it. And And I believe they worked very hard. And I just can't I can't believe that people have no appreciation of the tremendous work it would take to negotiate and to have everybody negotiating and working together to really turn North Korea around and convince him, Kim Jong-un, and his leadership that it's the best thing to do, to go for capitalism and prosperity and growth and let go of being on a war footing night and day, because frankly, who wants to invade North Korea? Nobody wants to invade North Korea except maybe the Islamists. They want to invade every place and every location and force Islam down the throats of the infidels. They're always talking about where they're going to go next. Anyway, the Senate, hallelujah. Senate Republicans managed to confirm Trump's nominee for the Ninth Circuit Court over Democrats' objections. That is so thrilling because, you know, Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, and corrupt Kamala Harris, the other senator from the state of California, you know, they told Trump, and I doubt they had a one-on-one meeting. I don't know how they communicated this, maybe by a phone call. I don't know. I never read where the three of them sat down together. But I did read and I did hear that Senators Harris and Feinstein communicated with the president, one way or another, that they did not want a conservative appointed to the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals and here in California. And it's the first time that the Senate confirmed a judicial nominee over this dissent of two home state senators. So President Trump has been fed up, as have I and every other Republican, with the very liberal progressive rulings of the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals here in California. Javier Becerra, always, the California AG, goes there. And every time he wants to sue the Trump administration because he knows he's going to get some help. But now, a person by the name of Eric Miller was confirmed by a 53-46 vote as the Republican-led Senate focused on reshaping the federal judiciary during the Trump era. If you don't vote for President Trump in 2020, you must be a moron. This president is really trying to turn around this country and get everybody on or in a place where our Judeo-Christian principles are upheld again in this country. Again, President first. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you that you nominated Eric Miller over the objections of two liberal progressive Democrats in the state of California, and that he is now confirmed and sitting on that once horrible Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Anyway, wanted to say one other thing and then we're going to wrap it up. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this clip. Remember yesterday, recall we had a black American, Barb Reynolds Wallstrom, and we talked about how Michael Cohen, that appeared before the House, what was it, the House Oversight Committee?
Judiciary Committee.
Was it the Judiciary Committee yesterday?
I think so. I'll double check.
Okay, I thought it was the House Oversight Committee. Anyway,
I think that's who he's seen.
no, he's in front of the Intelligence Committee today,
You're right.
behind closed doors.
You're right.
Okay, so anyway, Michael Cohen, was all public, and he was really, I mean, this was a show he put on. Again, this is the first time that the Democrats, this is the first time a House committee invited a convicted perjurer, a person that's committed a felony based on the lies he's told, to come back to the House of Representatives and tell some more lies. And I thought it was really interesting that he called the president a racist. I don't know what the president has ever said that's been racist. I don't know. What has he said that's been racist? I mean, he does everything he can to make sure that everybody, regardless of race or ethnicity, has a job and is getting a wage increase because he's promoting capitalism. What did Winston Churchill say? I love what Winston Churchill said. Winston Churchill said, socialism is a philosophy of failure. It's the creed of ignorance. And all those liberal progressives and silly young people that want socialism are absolutely ignorant. Winston Churchill called it the creed of ignorance and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. And isn't that what it is? People are envious of people that have more than they do, and they think socialism is going to make everybody equal, but it doesn't. But it makes everybody a whole lot poorer. Just take a look at Cuba and Venezuela. And there, without the capitalism, there isn't the inspiration to be better than the next person. Because there's benefits when you're better than the next person. When you have success, there's benefits to that. And it helps make life worth living. Anyway, socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. And so I guess we'll end with this final words from the president from his State of the Union message in February as we close out this month. And I want you to hear what the uniter-in-chief, what this man, Donald J. Trump, the message that he's trying to send to the whole country about coming together as one people, one nation, under God. Let's take a listen.
We do the incredible. We defy the impossible. We conquer the unknown. This is the time to reignite the American imagination. This is the time to search for the tallest summit and set our sights on the brightest star. This is the time to rekindle the bonds of love and loyalty and memory that link us together as citizens, as neighbors, as patriots.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I learn things new every day. Hope you learned a few new things today as well. Please share it out up and down the state. Share yesterday's show with Barb Reynolds. Share Tuesday's show with Greg Burt about the Assembly Bill 175. Let's make a difference in California. Let's get people on the California Republican Party team, and let's get everybody on the Trump 2020 train. We'll be right back with you tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Thank you so very much for listening and sharing out this show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to The Denice Gary Show. Intelligent Talk Media.